Let's explore meditation for anger. This morning's lesson is drawn from a good-hearted question found on Reddit. They wrote, "Any advice on how to stop living in anger and having violent thoughts towards those that wronged me?" They continued, "I'm at a point where I just don't want to be around people, anymore." I know there are good, honest people out there, but my personal experience has shown me I can't trust anyone. So there's a lot of stuff here, and let's dig right into this. This is not intended to sound like I'm minimizing. Everyone has experienced cruelty and betrayal. We are usually cool with that. We're able to forgive and forget and move on. But there are times when we can't. There are times when we are reliving that moment. Number one, when those flashbacks, those rage flashbacks can act as a barometer of unmet lifestyle needs, such as getting enough sleep, getting enough fresh air, sunshine, exercise, eating enough fruits, vegetables, seeds, nuts, grains, legumes, mushrooms, tubers, and the like. A whole food vegan diet as part of a complete lifestyle medicine approach can really help. But there's an extra layer. We have in our brain, let me see if I can look this up real quick. We have in our brain something called the hippocampus, and it functions as a gatekeeper for long-term memory. When an experience does not enter the hippocampus, the brain experiences it as occurring in the present moment. Trauma is when the past is experienced as the present. This is not a psychological problem. Yes, there can be psychological symptoms, but it's psychological symptoms of a physiological problem. This is substantial. As one who has endured CPTSD, it's been my experience and the experience of many professionals that brisk walking meditation can help to function as if it's massaging the hippocampus and the amygdala, which is right around here. And these things really help to process the past. No amount of affirmations will fix the hippocampus. No amount of positive thinking will fix the hippocampus. Hippocampus is like the guy with the clipboard at the front door to a dance club you're trying to get in. If you don't slip him the C note, you're not getting in. So we have to process the past, especially the traumatic past, with a method that is cooperating with our central nervous system. Which is why I recommend brisk walking meditation. Sturgeon's Law reminds us that 90% of everything sucks, but not in the fun, tingly way. That includes meditation authors and meditation teachers who, although might mean well, give dreadful advice. When someone advises you to actively concentrate or actively analyze, They are asking you to use structures in your brain, such as the medial prefrontal cortex or the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex. Now, this prefrontal cortex is a delightful tool, but when we use it for that for which it has not evolved, we are abusing it. And it winds up causing our amygdala to light up, the seat of fear and aggression. If we persist in overusing our prefrontal cortex for tasks for which it has not evolved, eventually we will display symptoms of depression or present symptoms of depression. And nobody wants that. But there's some good news. Due to a quirk in evolution, there is a organelle within our central nervous system that is optimized for mindfulness. Every time we inhale, whether we know it or not, we are accessing our sympathetic nervous system in the center third of our spinal cord. This bad boy has evolved to help us to perceive vulnerably, passively, viscerally, and randomly, which can feel frightening. We are wired to perceive sights, sounds, sensations, flavors, scents, and the like. We're also wired to perceive emotions, intentions, thoughts, memories, and imaginings. All of this can feel overwhelming, which is why it's important that we now discuss meditation. Every time we exhale, whether we know it or not, we are accessing our parasympathetic nervous system. This bad boy is found in the lower spinal cord and the upper spinal cord. It has evolved to support both physical relaxation as well as mental release. So here's the cool thing. Remember how we talked about when we overuse our prefrontal cortex to actively concentrate and actively contemplate, it just sparks up our amygdala? It sparks up our fear and aggression? Well, the antidote to that is relying on our sympathetic nervous system and our parasympathetic nervous system during our inhalation and our exhalation to help us to perceive and release. When we do that, not only does our amygdala calm down, but this thing lights up. This thing that kind of looks like a catcher's mitt. That's this thing that the big kids call the anterior cingulate gyrus. This thing that functions as the hub of our mirror neurons, the seat of compassion and empathy and love. Which is just absolutely fabulous. So when you walk in, what are the mechanics of brisk walking meditation? Well, if we're already wired to notice and release in harmony with our inhalation and our exhalation, what's the big deal about meditation? This. Our brain sometimes acts like Urkel, who is clever and means well, but is klutzy as hell. And it seems like all the little organelles comprising our central nervous system can sometimes act at odds with each other. But here's something really cool. Check this out. If during your inhalation you silently, mentally, and passively recite the demonstrative pronoun this, you will notice your brain cooperating with your sympathetic nervous system. Additionally, during your exhalation, if you silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease, you will notice your brain cooperating with your parasympathetic nervous system. So when it's time for brisk walking meditation, if you're deeply agitated, I don't recommend walking into traffic. Just walk laps around your block. Do this for 5 or 10 or 20 or 40 minutes. You will feel a shift. It's not going to erase your past, but it's going to make it feel like the past is no longer the present. It's the past. It's not because of belief. It's not because of visualization. It's because walking massages the hippocampus. So walk with a slightly lower center of gravity. Swing your arms and your hands asymmetrically. So, and we already know how to do this. When you step forward with your right hand, you swing your left hand forward, and vice versa. We already do this. But this really helps to create the asymmetric massage for our hippocampus, which really, really helps. The Buddha knew what stress was. He was raised to be a warlord. He was raised to be a prince. He was raised to send men to their death and battle. He knew the stress of something gnawing at the back of his mind that he couldn't put his finger on, despite having all his physical needs met. He knew the stress of leaving home. He knew the stress of frustrations and false starts. He knew the stresses of betrayals and besmirchment and libel. He knew the stress of multiple assassination attempts. The Buddha knew what stress was. He did not live his life in a perpetual state of bliss. Perhaps this is one of the reasons why, in addition to sitting meditation, the Buddha was a huge fan of walking meditation. Let's go back to the opening question. Maybe I need to meet new people, but I just feel antisocial and unwilling now. There will always be people who are cruel or foolish or insensitive. There will always be people who answer our friendship with mere acquaintanceship. We will find this in every demographic of every city and every county you call home. People will still be people. And to put it somewhat academically, within every group you will find every demographic. I often ruminate on how others have hurt me, and I spend a lot of time trying to just let go of anger and bitterness. So whether you're in walking meditation or sitting meditation, stuff is going to come up. It's not our job to find stuff. It's going to find us. I once had a pal, and his wife was trying to persuade the cat to come out from under the couch through the use of a broomstick. My friend had a better idea. He put the broomstick away. He theatrically walked into the kitchen, made as much noise as possible, rummaging in the cabinet for a can of cat food, and then used the electric can opener to open it. And guess who left the couch and volunteered to enter the kitchen? The cat, of course. Similarly, when we walk in meditation or sit in meditation, stuff is going to come to us. Whether that stuff is perceptions, emotions, intentions, thoughts, memories, or imaginings, they're going to come up. It's not our job to actively interfere. Legend tells us that before the Buddha was nicknamed the Buddha, he was called Gautama. And legend also tells us that he had a woodcut cousin named Devadatta. We read that Devadatta thought it would be a splendid idea to be rigid, fearful, superstitious, controlling, elitist, cryptic, competitive, and cruel. The Buddha was the opposite. He thought it'd be much better, much wiser to be flexible, loving, rational, laid back, egalitarian, lucid, cooperative, and kind. When we bring rigidity and controlling tendencies into meditation, we pretty much make things worse. When we remember that we're already wired to notice vulnerably, passively, viscerally, and randomly, to practice being flexible and being laid back, and we just let things happen in the sequence that our body hits on, it's going to work better. Don't worry, your body's not going to all of a sudden start hiding trauma from you. When the trauma hits, our job is not to shove it away. Our job is to relax. Just as a person with a board in the water cannot control the ocean, but sometimes they can surf the wave, similarly, we cannot control our past or our recollection or our imagination. We strive to control them at our peril. But if we notice them and relax, we may be able to surf them. And although we might not always get what we want when we want for as long as we want, life will work better. In fact, when our choices, utterances, and deeds flow from the effortless effort of love's centered spontaneity that is generated by our practice of mindfulness and meditation, our life can become as blissful as the real or imagined paradise of a Buddha. We will experience the genius that only comes from spontaneity. No, not scattered spontaneity, but centered spontaneity. So we cannot force the process of letting go, but we can process it. The more we make of meditation and mindfulness a habit, the more we practice it for at least 5 minutes a pop every 12 minutes or so, the more and more we will be defined by the old adage, whatever comes, let it come, whatever stays, let it stay, whatever goes, let it go. Now, it might sound like I'm asking you to be a doormat, but because of the fringe benefit of meditation and mindfulness, because of that centered spontaneity, you won't. Ever watch a movie where a kung fu student is very, very antsy and very, very excited about punching and blocking and kicking, whereas the martial arts master is very relaxed and practices an economy of movement and just subtly gets out of the way, or just subtly parries, or just gently, or just casually seems to strike. Well, I don't recommend that you go about picking bar fights like you are the star of Roadhouse. We can take inspiration from Kung Fu theater, and that the idea of mastery, the idea of being able to sanguine, spontaneously and gently go through life. That is one of the goals of a healthy meditation practice. I do look forward to practicing with you this morning, after approximately 30 seconds of housekeeping. This is Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. For more than 30 years, has spent about 8 hours a day, almost every day, studying, practicing, mastering, and reverse engineering the teachings and techniques of each sect of Buddhism so that you would not have to. Welcome, my friends, to Meditate Like a Jedi, which is made possible due to the generosity of viewers just like you. So this morning I think it would be fun to work with either the 39th or 40th chapter of the Avatamsaka Sutra, depending upon which translation you're using, known as the King of Aspirational Recitations, also known as the 48 Vows of Samantabhadra. And we're going to alternate between chanting and meditating, and I hope you enjoy this. So this translation was provided by Lotsawa House, and it has been adapted by yours truly. Please chant with me. To all the Buddhas, the lions of the human race, in all directions of the universe, through past, present, and future. To every single one of you I bow in homage, with devotion filling my body, speech, and mind. Through the power of this intention, aspiring to good action, may all the victorious ones appear vivid before my mind. And I multiply my body as many as times as are atoms in the universe, each one bowing in gratitude to all the Buddhas. So, if you wish, you may join me for 7 or so Tibetan-style Buddha bows. You don't have to, but I think it's great fun. So, quick like a bunny. I'm going to slide the camera. And of course, bowing when you're angry can really interrupt the pattern of rage. Three jewels. May we free all through thee. 3 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 jewels. Now let us rest the mind. In every atom preside as many Buddhas as there are atoms. And around them all their bodhisattva is. So I imagine them filling completely the entire space of reality, saluting them with an endless ocean of praise, with the sounds of an ocean of different melodies. I sing of the Buddha's noble qualities and praise all those who have gone to perfect bliss. To every Buddha I make offerings of the loveliest flowers of beautiful garlands, of music, perfumed ointments, the best of parasols, the brightest lamps and finest incense. To every Buddha I make offerings, exquisite garments, the most fragrant scents, powdered incense heaped as high as Mount Meru, arranged in perfect symmetry. Then the vast and unsurpassed offerings inspired by my devotion to all the Buddhas, and moved by the power of my enthusiasm for actions, I bow and offer to all you victorious ones. Whatever harmful acts I have committed while driven by hating, craving, confusion, competition, and clinging, with my body, my speech, and also my mind, before you I confess and purify each and every one. With a heart full of delight, I rejoice in all the merits of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, Pratika Buddhas, those in training and arhats beyond training, and every living being throughout the entire universe. You who are like beacons of light shining throughout the world, to pass through the stages of enlightenment, to attain Buddhahood, freedom from all the tyranny of attachment. I exhort you, all of you protectors, turn the unsurpassable wheel of Dharma. Joining my palms together, I beseech you who intend to enter Parinirvana. Remain for aeons as many as the atoms of this world, and bring well-being and happiness to all living beings. Whoops, that was a boo-boo. What little virtue I have gathered through my homage, through offering confession and rejoicing, through exhortation and requesting. Whoops, that was weird. All of it I dedicate to the enlightenment of all beings. May offerings be made to the Buddhas of the past, and all who now dwell throughout the 10 directions of this universe. May all who are yet to come swiftly attain their wishes and attain their wishes, and attain the stages of enlightenment and Buddhahood. May as many worlds as there are in the 10 directions transform into realms that are vast and utterly pure. Food with Buddhas who have sat beneath the mighty Bodhi tree. Around them all the Bodhisattvas, sons and daughters. May as many sentient beings as there are in the 10 direction live always and forever in happiness and health. May all beings meet the Buddha's teachings that best benefit them, and may all they hope for be fulfilled. As I practice enlightenment training, may I recall all my previous births, and in my successive lives through death and through rebirth, may I always renounce the worldly life. Training in the footsteps of the victorious Buddhas, may I bring good actions to perfection. And may my moral conduct be taintless, impure, never lapsing, and always be free from faults. In the language of gods, nagas, and yakshas, in the language of demons and humans too. In however many kinds of languages there may be, may I proclaim the Dharma in the languages of all. Taming my mind and striving in the perfections of giving, kindness, patience, ill mindfulness, and wisdom, may I never forget bodhicitta. May all my harmful actions and the obscurations of dread and desire they cause be completely purified, every single one. May I be free from karma, negative emotions, and the work of negativity. And act for all beings in the world, just like the lotus flower to which neither man nor water cling. Or the sun and moon that course unhindered across the sky. throughout the reach and range of the entire universe. May I pacify completely the suffering of all the lower realms. And may I lead them to happiness and work for the ultimate benefit of each and every one. So, if you're still watching this, the sufferings of the lower realms include hate, greed, and confusion. May I bring enlightened action to perfection, meet beings' needs, and teach them to accomplish good actions, continuing this through all the eons to come. May I always meet with and be accompanied by those whose actions accord with mine. And in body, speech, and mind as well, may our aspirations and actions always be as one. May I always meet spiritual friends who long to be of true help to me, and teach me the good actions. May I never disappoint them. May I always behold the Buddhas here before my eyes, and around them all the Bodhisattvas, sons and daughters, without tiring throughout all the aeons to come. May the offerings I make them be endless and vast. Welcome to this morning's live stream. The moment you have a specific question about Buddhist chanting, Buddhist meditation, Buddhist philosophy, or their application, simply type your question in great detail in the chat window. Together. May I maintain the sacred teachings of the Buddhas and cause enlightened action to appear. May I train to perfection in good actions and practice these in every age to come. As I wander through all states of samsaric existence, may I gather inexhaustible merit and wisdom, and so become an inexhaustible treasury of noble qualities of skill, discernment, mindfulness, and liberation. In a single atom may I see as many pure lands as atoms in the universe, and in each realm beyond Buddha's imagining. Along with them may I perform the actions of enlightenment, and so in each direction, everywhere, even on the tip of a hair, may I see a notion of Buddhas all to come in present, past, or future. And a notion of pure lands, and through a notion of aeons, may I enter into enlightened action in each and every one. In each word of a Buddha's speech, with its ocean of good qualities, bears all the purity of the speech of all the Buddhas. Sounds that harmonize with the minds of all living beings. May I always be engaged with the speech of the Buddhas. With all the power of my mind may I hear and realize the inexhaustible melody of the teachings, spoken by all the Buddhas of the past, present, and future as they turn the wheels of Dharma. As the wisdom of the Buddhas penetrates all future aeons, may I too know them instantly. And in each fraction of an instant may I know all that will ever be, past, present, and future. In an instant may I behold all those who are lions of the human race, the Buddhas of past, present, and future. May I always be engaged in the Buddha's way of life and action, through the power of liberation, where all is realized as like an illusion. On a single atom may I actually bring about the entire array of pure lands of past, present, and future, and then enter into those Buddha realms in each atom in each direction. When those who illuminate the world still to come gradually attain Buddhahood, turn the wheel of Dharma, and demonstrate the final profound peace of Nirvana, may I always be in the presence. Through the power of swift miracles, the power of the vehicle like a doorway, the power of conduct that possesses all virtuous qualities, the power of loving kindness all pervasive, the power of merit that is totally virtuous, the power of wisdom free from attachment, and the power of knowledge, skillful means, and mindfulness. May I perfectly accomplish the power of enlightenment. May I purify the power of karma, destroy the power of harmful emotions. Render negativity utterly powerless and perfect the power of good actions. May I purify oceans of realms, liberate oceans of sentient beings, understand oceans of Dharma, realize oceans of wisdoms, perfect oceans of actions, fulfill all oceans of aspirations, and serve oceans of Buddhas, and perform these without ever growing weary for oceans of aeons. All the Buddhas throughout the whole of time attained enlightenment through good actions, and their aspirations and recitations for enlightened actions, may I fulfill them all completely. The eldest of the sons of all the Buddhas is called Samantabhadra, all good. I dedicate fully all these merits that I too may act with skills like his. To purify my body, my speech, and my mind, as well to purify my actions in all realms. May I be the equal of Samantabhadra in his skill and good dedication. In order to perform the virtue of good actions, may I act in according to my May I act according to Manjushri's recitations of aspiration, and without ever growing weary in all the aeons to come, may I perfectly fulfill every one of his aims. May my bodhisattva actions be beyond measure. May my enlightened qualities be measureless as well. Keeping to this immeasurable activity, may I accomplish the miraculous powers of enlightenment. Sentient beings are as limitless as the boundless expanse of space. So shall my recitation of aspiration for them be as limitless as their karma and harmful emotions. Whoever hears this king of aspiration recitations and yearns for supreme enlightenment, who even once arouses enthusiasm will gain to merit greater still. Then by offering the victorious Buddha's infinite pure lands in every direction, all ornamented in jewels, are offering them all the highest joys of gods and humans, for as many eons as there are atoms in those realms. Whoever truly makes this aspiration to good actions will never again be born in the lower realms. They will be free from harmful companions and soon behold the Buddha of boundless light. They will acquire all kinds of benefits and live in happiness even in this present life. All will go well. And before long they will become just like Samantabandra. All negative actions, even the 5 of immediate retribution, whatever they have committed in the grip of ignorance, will soon be completely purified if they recite the aspiration to good actions. They will possess perfect wisdom, beauty, and excellent signs. Be born in a good family and with radiant appearance. Demons and heretics will never harm them, and the 3 worlds will honor them with offerings. They will quickly go beneath the Bodhi tree and they will sit, and there they will sit, to benefit all sentient beings and awaken to enlightenment. Turn the wheel of Dharma and tame martyrs with all his horns. The full result of keeping, teaching, or reading this recitation of the aspiration to good actions is known to the Buddhas alone. Have no doubt supreme enlightenment is yours. Just as the Bodhisattva Madhuri attained omniscience and Samanta Mandrantu. All these merits I now dedicate to train and follow in the footsteps. As all the victorious Buddhas of the past, present, and future praise dedication as supreme, so now I dedicate all these words of virtue for all beings to perfect good actions. When it is time for me to die, may all that obscures me fade away. So I look on Amitabha there in person and go what ones do is pure land of Sukhavati. In that pure land may I actualize every single one of all these aspirations. May I fulfill them each and every one and bring help to all beings for as long as the universe remains. Born her in a beautiful lotus flower in that excellent and joyous pure land. May the Buddha Amitabha himself grant me the prophecy for telling my enlightenment. Having received the prophecy there with my billions of emanations sent out through the power of mind, may I bring enormous benefit to sentient beings in the 10 directions. Through whatever small virtues I have gained by reciting this aspiration to good actions, may the virtuous wishes of all beings' recitations and aspirations be instantly accomplished. Through the true and boundless merit attained by dedicating this aspiration to good actions, may all drowning in the ocean of suffering reach the supreme pure land of Amitabha. May this king of aspirations bring about the supreme aim and benefit of all infinite sentient beings. May they perfect that what is described in this special aspiration uttered by Samanta Bandra. May the lower realms be entirely emptied. If you feel that I have earned it, you could give this live stream a thumbs up. You could even help support this channel. In approximately 9.5 hours, I would very much like to return to lead today's evening meditation class and group practice. And if you are as geeky as me, may the Force be with you.